Admiral Kexthul stared at the tactical display in his command center and felt something he had never experienced before in his long military career. Genuine fear. In just 5 days of fighting, the Zephyrian Empire had lost 67 ships to an enemy that should have been crushed in the first hour of battle. These humans were not just defending their world. They were teaching the galaxy's greatest military force that there were some species you should never attack. The alien admiral had called for reinforcements 3 times, but each new wave of Zephyrian ships fell victim to human tactics that seemed to evolve with every battle. The humans learned faster than Zephyrian computers could adapt. They turned every alien advantage into a weakness and every defeat into a lesson for future victory. Dr. Helen Carter worked day and night in her hidden laboratory on one of Jupiter's moons, studying captured alien technology with a team of Earth's best scientists. Carter had spent 20 years researching theoretical physics and alien mathematics. What she discovered about Zephyrian psychology would prove more valuable than any weapon. "Admiral Morrison, you need to see this," Carter said during an encrypted communication session. "I have been analyzing Zephyrian battle records from their previous conquests. These aliens have never faced a species like us." Morrison listened carefully as Carter explained her findings. The Zephyrian Empire had built their power by conquering species that surrendered quickly when faced with superior technology. Most alien civilizations were peaceful and logical. When they saw that resistance was hopeless, they gave up to save lives and preserve their cultures. "But humans are different," Carter continued. "We have spent our entire history fighting each other. Every human culture has warrior traditions. Every human child grows up hearing stories about heroes who never gave up against impossible odds. We do not surrender just because the enemy has better weapons." The doctor had discovered something even more disturbing about the aliens. The Zephyrian Empire was not really a military force at all. They were more like space police who used fear and overwhelming technology to control weaker species. Their tactics were designed to frighten opponents into giving up, not to win actual battles against determined enemies. Captain Laura Green proved this theory correct during her deep space mission aboard the reconnaissance ship Wanderer. Green had tracked down the alien supply lines that kept the invasion force operational. What she found surprised her more than any battle could have. "Admiral, this is incredible," Green reported from the edge of the system. "The Zephyrians have supply ships but no real military support structure. They expected this invasion to be over in 2 days. Their logistics system cannot handle a long war." Green's discovery revealed the aliens' greatest weakness. The Zephyrian Empire was built on the assumption that their enemies would always surrender quickly. Their entire military system was designed for short campaigns against frightened opponents. They had never prepared for a war against an enemy that would fight for months or years without giving up. Commander Patricia Wong, aboard the experimental ship Defiance, took advantage of this knowledge by launching the most daring mission in human military history. Wong was an expert in electronic warfare who had spent years studying alien communication systems. Her plan was to infiltrate the Zephyrian fleet and destroy it from within. Wong's ship had been modified to mimic alien technology signatures perfectly. To Zephyrian sensors, the Defiance looked and sounded exactly like one of their own vessels. This allowed Wong to fly her ship directly into the middle of the enemy fleet without being detected. "This is Defiance beginning infiltration run," Wong reported as her ship approached the alien formation. "If this works, we will prove that human creativity is more powerful than any alien technology." The infiltration succeeded beyond anyone's hopes. Wong's team was able to plant computer viruses in 12 Zephyrian ships before the aliens realized what was happening. The viruses did not just damage alien systems, they made the ships broadcast false information to their own fleet. Alien vessels began targeting each other by mistake, creating chaos throughout their entire formation. But the real breakthrough came when Wong's crew captured detailed records of Zephyrian military history. The files revealed that the alien empire had conquered over 300 worlds in the past 1,000 years. Every single conquest had followed the same pattern. The aliens would arrive with overwhelming force, the local species would surrender within days, and the Zephyrians would establish control without serious fighting. "Admiral Morrison, we have found their weakness," Wong transmitted as her ship escaped the confused alien fleet. "These creatures have never fought a real war in their entire history. They are conquerors, not warriors. They do not know how to handle an enemy that refuses to quit." The psychological impact on the Zephyrian forces was devastating. Admiral Kexthul received constant reports of his ships being attacked by invisible enemies, infiltrated by false allies, and outmaneuvered by tactics that violated every rule of proper military conduct. His officers began to question whether this invasion could ever succeed. "Perhaps we should consider a strategic withdrawal," Commander Veltar suggested during a staff meeting. "These humans are not like any enemy we have faced before. They seem to become more dangerous every time we defeat them." But Kexthul's pride would not allow him to retreat. The Zephyrian Empire had never failed to conquer a world once they decided to attack it. If word spread through the galaxy that humans had forced the mighty empire to retreat, other species might begin to think they could resist as well. Morrison realized that humanity was fighting for more than just their own survival. Every alien species in the galaxy was watching this war to see if the Zephyrian Empire could be defeated. If humans won, it would inspire other worlds to resist alien domination. If humans lost, the galaxy would remain under Zephyrian control forever. "All units, this is Admiral Morrison," he announced to every human ship station and weapon platform in the system. "We are not just fighting for Earth anymore. We are fighting to show the galaxy that freedom is possible. Every species that has ever been conquered by these aliens is watching us. We cannot let them down." The Admiral's words spread through the human fleet like fire. Soldiers who were exhausted from days of constant fighting found new strength. Engineers, who had been working without sleep for a week, pushed themselves even harder. Pilots who had already flown impossible missions volunteered for even more dangerous assignments. Major Kelly Brooks, leading the elite strike team Alpha, prepared for what might be the most important mission in human history. Brooks was a specialist in boarding actions and close combat. Her team had trained for years to fight in the cramped corridors of enemy spaceships. Now they would attempt something that no species had ever tried: capturing a Zephyrian flagship. "We are not going to destroy their command ship," Brooks explained to her team. "We are going to take it intact and broadcast the truth about this war to every planet in the galaxy. We will show everyone that the great Zephyrian Empire can be defeated by primitives with metal bullets and chemical rockets." The boarding mission began when Brooks and her team used captured alien technology to sneak aboard Admiral Kexthul's flagship. The strike team moved through the ship like ghosts, avoiding alien patrols and disabling security systems. Their goal was not the ship's weapons or engines, but its main communication array. When they reached the communication center, Brooks and her team sent a message that would change the galaxy forever. They broadcast detailed records of every human victory, every alien defeat, and every moment when Zephyrian forces had been outfought by supposedly primitive humans. The message went out on every communication frequency the aliens used, reaching thousands of worlds across their empire. For the first time in galactic history, conquered species learned that their oppressors could be beaten. The great Zephyrian Empire was not invincible. A small world called Earth had proven that determination and creativity could defeat superior technology. The message gave hope to every species that had ever dreamed of freedom, but thought it was impossible to achieve. Admiral Kexthul received reports from across his empire of unrest on conquered worlds. Species that had been peaceful for centuries were beginning to ask dangerous questions about Zephyrian rule. Some were even starting to organize resistance movements based on human tactics they had learned from the broadcast. The alien admiral realized too late that he had made a terrible mistake. By attacking Earth, he had not just threatened one world. He had awakened something that would spread across the galaxy like a virus. He had taught every oppressed species that even the mighty Zephyrian Empire could be defeated by anyone brave enough to never give up. Commander Veltar led the advance fleet of 30 Zephyrian ships toward the human solar system. His orders were simple: destroy any human ships that tried to fight and clear the way for Admiral Kexthul's main invasion force. The young commander felt excited about his first major battle command. This would be easy victory that would earn him promotion and honor in the Empire. The Zephyrian ships moved in perfect formation through space. Each vessel was 3 times larger than the biggest human ship. Their hulls shined like silver mirrors, and their plasma weapons could melt through any known metal. Veltar sat in his command chair and watched the human system grow larger on his screens. Soon he would show these primitive creatures the true power of Zephyrian military might. Near Jupiter's largest moon, Captain Steve Bennett commanded a small patrol group of 5 human ships. The Earth defense ship Horizon was old and slow compared to alien technology, but Bennett and his crew had learned to make it work in ways the designers never imagined. Bennett was a veteran of many space battles. He had fought pirates in the asteroid belt and rebels during the colonial wars. He knew that sometimes the smaller force could win if they were smart and brave. Bennett's tactical officer was Lieutenant Amy Walsh, a young woman who had graduated first in her class at the Defense Academy. Amy had studied every famous battle in human history. She knew about ancient warriors who had defeated larger armies through clever tactics and surprise attacks. She believed that humans could learn something from every fight, even when they lost. "Captain, I have 30 alien ships on sensors," Amy reported. "They are moving straight toward us in a tight formation. Their weapons are much more powerful than ours." Bennett looked at the display screen and saw the enemy ships approaching like a silver arrow pointed at his heart. By all military rules, he should retreat immediately and call for help. His 5 small ships could not possibly fight 30 advanced alien vessels. But Bennett remembered something his old commander had told him years ago. "Sometimes you have to break the rules to win." "All ships, this is Captain Bennett," he said into his communication device. "We are going to spread out and attack from different directions. Do not try to fight them face to face. Hit them fast and then run away. Make them chase you through the asteroid fields." The human ships broke formation and scattered in all directions. This confused Veltar because no intelligent species had ever done such a thing before. In proper military tactics, ships stayed together and fought as a united force. These humans were acting like cowards or madmen. "Pursue and destroy them," Veltar ordered his fleet. "Do not let any escape to warn their homeworld." The Zephyrian ships split up to chase the fleeing humans. This was exactly what Bennett had hoped would happen. Amy Walsh had studied the alien formation and noticed that their ships worked best when they stayed together. Their weapons were designed to support each other, and their shields were strongest when they could share power. By forcing them to spread out, the humans had taken away their main advantage. Captain Janet Cole commanded the Earth ship Defiant and was the first to test the new tactics. She hid her ship behind a large asteroid and waited for an alien vessel to come close. When the Zephyrian ship passed by, Cole attacked from behind with all her weapons. The alien commander was so surprised that he could not react in time. Cole's missiles damaged the enemy ship's engines before she flew away into the asteroid field. Lieutenant Commander Tony Mitchell on the ship Ranger tried a different approach. He used the gravity of Jupiter's moons to change his ship's direction in ways the aliens could not predict. Every time a Zephyrian ship tried to target him, Mitchell would swing around another moon and attack from a new angle. His crew fired their weapons and then disappeared before the enemy could fire back. Veltar watched his tactical display with growing anger and confusion. 3 of his ships had already taken serious damage, and he had not destroyed a single human vessel. These creatures fought without honor or proper military discipline. They hid behind rocks and used gravity to play tricks with their movement. They attacked and then ran away instead of standing and fighting like true warriors. "This is madness," Veltar said to his weapons officer. "How can we fight an enemy that will not stay still long enough to be destroyed?" The weapons officer, an experienced Zephyrian veteran named Kolnex, studied the human attack patterns on his computer. What he saw made him feel cold fear for the first time in his long military career. The humans were not fighting randomly or without plan. They were learning from each battle and changing their tactics based on what worked best. "Commander, I think we made a mistake," Kolnex said quietly. "These humans have been fighting wars for their entire history. They know things about battle that we never learned." Captain Bennett regrouped his small fleet near Europa and counted the results of their first engagement. All 5 human ships were still functional, but they had used most of their missiles and energy weapons. The alien ships had superior shields and armor that could absorb much more damage than human weapons could normally cause. But the scattered attacks had proven that Zephyrian ships could be hurt if hit in the right places. Amy Walsh analyzed the battle data and made an important discovery. The alien ships had weak points where their shield generators connected to their main power systems. If human weapons could hit those exact spots, they might be able to disable enemy vessels instead of just damaging them. She also noticed that the aliens seemed to have trouble tracking multiple targets at the same time. "Captain, I have an idea," Amy said with excitement in her voice. "What if we coordinate our attacks so that all our ships hit the same enemy vessel at exactly the same moment? Their shields might not be able to handle that much damage all at once." Bennett smiled and nodded. This was exactly the kind of creative thinking that had won human battles throughout history. The aliens might have better technology, but humans had something more valuable: the ability to think of new solutions when old methods did not work. The 5 human ships attacked again, but this time they worked as a coordinated team. Bennett's Horizon distracted the aliens from the front, while Cole's Defiant attacked from the left side. Mitchell's Ranger came in from above, and Walsh directed 2 other ships to hit from below. All 5 ships fired their weapons at the same Zephyrian vessel at exactly the same time. The concentrated attack overwhelmed the alien ship's shields and caused massive explosions throughout its hull. The Zephyrian vessel spun out of control and crashed into a nearby asteroid. It was the first alien ship that humans had ever destroyed, and the victory sent waves of hope through the small fleet. Veltar stared at his display in shock and disbelief. These primitive humans had just destroyed one of the Empire's most advanced warships using crude metal bullets and chemical explosives. It should have been impossible, but the wreckage floating in space proved that it had really happened. For the first time in his life, the young commander began to understand that this war might not be as easy as everyone had believed. Admiral Kexthul arrived in the human solar system expecting to find his advance fleet celebrating an easy victory. Instead, he discovered that Commander Veltar had lost 8 ships to a handful of primitive human vessels. The Admiral's rage burned hot as he read the battle reports. How could the mighty Zephyrian Empire suffer such embarrassing losses to creatures who still used chemical rockets and metal bullets? "Impossible," Kexthul roared as he threw the report across his command center. "Veltar must be lying to cover his own failure. No species this backward could defeat our ships." But the evidence was clear on every scanner and communication channel. Zephyrian warships were floating dead in space around Jupiter's moons. Human ships were still active and moving freely through the system. Even worse, the humans had learned to copy some Zephyrian communication codes and were listening to all alien military transmissions. Captain Jake Morrison, now promoted to Admiral by Earth Defense Command, coordinated human resistance from his flagship Liberty. In the 3 days since first contact, Morrison had transformed the scattered Earth Defense Force into something the galaxy had never seen before. Every asteroid, moon, and space station had become a fortress. Every commercial ship and mining vessel had been converted into a weapon of war. Morrison stood in his command center looking at tactical displays that showed the entire solar system. Red dots marked Zephyrian ships while green dots showed human vessels. The aliens still had superior numbers and technology, but the humans had something more valuable. They had turned their entire home system into one giant trap. "Report on Operation No." "Hornet's Nest," Morrison ordered his staff. Colonel Ben Turner, recently promoted to handle ground operations, stepped forward with a smile. Turner was a tough man who had spent 15 years fighting in various Earth conflicts. He understood that sometimes the best defense was a good offense launched from unexpected directions. "All mining stations have been converted to missile platforms," Turner reported. "We have hidden weapon systems on 43 asteroids. The old Mars defense grid is fully operational. Most importantly, our stealth ships are in position throughout the system." The stealth ships were Morrison's secret weapon. Commander Sarah Davis led a small fleet of modified vessels that could hide from alien sensors by using techniques learned from submarine warfare on Earth. Davis had studied every method humans had ever used to hide from enemies, from ancient warriors who painted themselves to blend with forests to modern soldiers who used electronic camouflage. Sarah's flagship, the Earthship Shadow, was currently hiding inside the tail of a comet as it moved toward the main Zephyrian fleet. Her crew had spent 2 days modifying their ship to look like space debris on alien scanners. They had also learned to mimic the energy signatures of destroyed human vessels, making the aliens think they were looking at wreckage instead of active warships. "Admiral Morrison, this is Shadow." Sarah's voice came through the communication system. "We are in position behind the enemy main force, counting 170 alien ships. They have no idea we are here." Morrison nodded and activated the fleet-wide communication channel. All across the solar system, human ships, stations, and hidden weapon platforms received his signal. In the asteroid belt, miners turned soldiers waited beside jury-rigged missile launchers. On Mars, defense batteries aimed their guns at coordinates provided by Earth. Near Saturn, patrol ships prepared to attack alien supply convoys. "All units, this is Admiral Morrison," he announced. "Today we show these invaders what happens when you threaten human families. Remember, we are not just fighting for our planet. We are fighting for the right of every species in the galaxy to live free from alien conquest. Attack." The battle began with Sarah's stealth ship striking the Zephyrian rearguard. Her modified missiles hit 3 alien vessels before their commanders even knew they were under attack. The surprise was so complete that the aliens thought they were being attacked by some kind of invisible enemy. Panic spread through their communication channels as captains reported being hit by weapons that came from empty space. Chief Engineer Danny Rodriguez, working from a hidden base inside an asteroid, had spent the last 3 days reverse engineering captured alien technology. But instead of copying Zephyrian designs exactly, Rodriguez had applied human creativity to improve them. His new weapons combined alien plasma technology with human unpredictability. Launching chaos missiles, Rodriguez announced as he fired, his latest creation at the alien fleet. The missiles used random flight patterns that changed every few seconds. Alien computers could not calculate where the weapons would go next, because the missiles themselves did not know their final targets until the last moment. Lieutenant Colonel Maria Santos commanded the Mars defense grid and proved that humans could adapt faster than any alien computer system. Every time the Zephyrians tried a new attack formation, Santos analyzed it and found a way to counter it. Her defensive systems learned from each enemy assault and became stronger with every battle. "Alien attack pattern 77 Alpha detected," Santos reported to Morrison. "Adjusting all defensive systems to counter formation 12 Beta. Estimated enemy casualties, 15 ships." The Zephyrians discovered that fighting humans was like trying to fight smoke. Every time they thought they had trapped human forces, the defenders would scatter and attack from new directions. Human ships would disappear into asteroid fields, and then emerge behind alien formations. Weapon platforms hidden on moons would fire once and then go silent, making the aliens waste time looking for targets that were no longer there. Admiral Kexthul realized that his traditional military tactics were useless against these chaotic human methods. The aliens had conquered hundreds of worlds using overwhelming force and superior technology, but the humans refused to line up and be destroyed like civilized opponents should. "They fight like rabid animals," Kexthul snarled to his staff. "Where is their honor? Where is their military discipline? How can we defeat an enemy that has no rules?" Captain Laura Green, commanding the deep space reconnaissance ship Wanderer, provided the answer to the alien admiral's question. She had spent the battle tracking Zephyrian supply lines and communication networks. Her small crew of intelligence specialists had discovered something important about alien psychology. "Admiral Morrison, this is Wanderer," Laura reported from the edge of the system. "I have been monitoring alien communications. Their commanders are becoming confused and frightened. They have never faced an enemy that adapts this quickly. I recommend we increase the pressure." Morrison smiled and gave orders for the next phase of the battle. Human forces would not just defend their system. They would show the aliens that humans could attack just as unpredictably as they defended. Strike teams would hit alien supply ships. Stealth vessels would target enemy communication centers. Most importantly, they would make the Zephyrians afraid to sleep. The tide of battle turned completely when Sergeant Major Rick Johnson, leading a team of Marines on Europa, captured a damaged alien ship and its surviving crew. Johnson was a veteran of ground combat who understood that sometimes the best intelligence came from questioning prisoners. His team had learned to use non-lethal weapons that could disable alien soldiers without killing them. The captured Zephyrians revealed something shocking under questioning. Their empire had never faced serious resistance before. Most species surrendered quickly when they saw alien technology. Those few worlds that tried to fight back were defeated within days by conventional military attacks. The Zephyrians had no experience with enemies that refused to give up and kept learning new ways to fight. "They are scared," Johnson reported to Morrison. "These aliens have never seen anything like human determination. They expected us to surrender after losing a few ships. Instead, we are getting stronger and more dangerous with every battle." Morrison realized that humanity had stumbled upon the Zephyrian Empire's greatest weakness. These aliens were bullies who were used to easy victories over frightened opponents. When faced with an enemy that fought back harder after being hit, they did not know how to respond. The great conquerors of the galaxy were discovering that there was a big difference between ruling through fear and actually winning a real war against determined opponents. As the battle continued, more and more alien ships were destroyed or disabled by human tactics that seemed to come from nowhere. The Zephyrians found themselves fighting an enemy that learned from every mistake and turned every defeat into a lesson for future victory. Admiral Kexthul looked at the blue planet on his screen and felt nothing but disgust. The humans living on that small world called Earth were weak creatures who had barely learned to travel between stars. His large claws clicked against the metal table as he read the reports his scouts had sent back. These primitive beings still used guns that shot metal bullets instead of energy weapons. They fought each other over small pieces of land and resources. Their ships were slow and ugly compared to the beautiful vessels of the Zephyrian Empire. The Admiral's assistant, Commander Veltar, stood beside him with more files about the human species. Veltar was young for a Zephyrian, but had already conquered 12 worlds for the Empire. He had never seen a species as backward as these humans. Their technology was at least 500 years behind Zephyrian science. Their weapons were crude, and their military tactics were messy and without honor. "Look at this," Kexthul said, as he pointed to images of human soldiers on the screen. "They cover themselves in dirt and hide behind rocks like scared animals. They do not stand and fight with honor like true warriors should. These creatures are not even worth our time." Veltar nodded and showed his admiral more pictures. Human cities looked dirty and crowded. Their ships were made of basic metals and used chemical fuel instead of clean plasma energy. Most shocking of all, the humans seemed to enjoy fighting each other. Their history was full of wars between their own species. What kind of savage race would spend thousands of years killing their own kind? "They fight like wild beasts," Veltar said with a laugh. "Our plasma cannons will destroy their metal ships in seconds. Our shields will stop their primitive bullets. This will be the easiest conquest in Empire history." The two Zephyrians looked at more intelligence reports. The humans had only recently built their first faster-than-light ship. They had small colonies on a few planets and moons in their solar system. Their total population was less than 20 billion across all their worlds. The Zephyrian Empire controlled thousands of star systems and had conquered over 300 different species. Kexthul remembered his last campaign against the Corvani Republic. Those blue-skinned aliens had advanced energy weapons and strong, defensive shields. The war lasted 2 years and cost the Empire 50 ships. But even the mighty Corvani had surrendered when they saw the true power of Zephyrian military might. These pathetic humans would not last 2 days. "Send the standard ultimatum," Kexthul ordered. "Tell them to surrender their planet and all their resources to the Empire. If they refuse, we will take everything by force and sell their people as slaves in the outer markets." Meanwhile, on Earth, Captain Jake Morrison was drinking coffee in his small office aboard the Earth Defense ship Liberty. The ship orbited high above Earth, watching for any signs of danger from space. Morrison was 45 years old and had spent 20 years in the Earth Defense Force. He had fought in the Mars colonial wars when rebels tried to break away from Earth government. He had also commanded ships during the asteroid mining conflicts in the outer system. Morrison's communication officer, Lieutenant Lisa Parker, walked into his office with a worried look on her face. She carried a tablet with an incoming message from deep space. Lisa was one of the smartest officers Morrison had ever worked with. She could speak 6 different languages and had studied alien mathematics at the Earth Science Academy. "Captain, we just received this transmission," Lisa said as she handed him the tablet. "It came from outside our solar system. The message is in perfect English." Morrison read the message and felt cold fear run down his back. The aliens called themselves the Zephyrian Empire, and they wanted Earth to surrender immediately. They claimed to have conquered hundreds of other worlds. They promised to spare human lives if Earth gave up without a fight. If humans refused, the aliens would destroy every city and kill every person on the planet. "How long do we have?" Morrison asked. "They gave us 7 Earth days to decide," Lisa replied. "Their main fleet is still 3 days away from our system." Morrison stood up and walked to the window of his office. He could see Earth spinning slowly below them, blue and white and beautiful. Billions of people lived down there. Children playing in schools, families eating dinner together, old people sitting in parks feeding birds. None of them knew that aliens wanted to destroy everything they loved. The captain thought about his own family. His wife Carol lived in New York City with their 2 children. His son Danny was 16 and wanted to join the Defense Force when he finished school. His daughter Amy was 12 and loved to paint pictures of spaceships. Morrison had promised to take them on a vacation to the Mars colonies next summer. Now he might never see them again. "Contact Admiral Collins at Earth Defense Command," Morrison ordered. "Tell him we need an emergency meeting of all senior officers. Also contact Chief Engineer Rodriguez. We need to know exactly what ships we have and what condition they are in." Lisa nodded and left the office to send the messages. Morrison looked out at the stars and wondered how many other worlds the aliens had destroyed. Were there other species out there who had tried to fight back? Did any of them win? Or did the Zephyrians always get what they wanted through fear and superior weapons? The captain had read about the great wars of Earth history. He knew about brave men and women who had fought against impossible odds. Sometimes they lost, but sometimes they found ways to win when everyone thought they would fail. Humans had always been good at finding new ways to fight. They learned from their mistakes and tried new tactics. Maybe that would be enough to surprise these alien conquerors. Morrison opened his personal communication device and sent a message to his wife. He told her that he loved her and the children very much. He told her to be ready to leave the city if the government ordered evacuations. He did not tell her about the alien threat. There would be time for that later when the Defense Force decided how to respond. The captain walked to his command center and looked at his crew. These men and women had trained for years to protect Earth from threats. They had never imagined those threats would come from the stars. But Morrison knew one thing, for certain. If the aliens wanted a fight, humanity would give them one they would never forget. Admiral Kexathul made his final and most terrible decision while watching his invasion fleet crumble around him. In 10 days of fighting, the humans had destroyed or disabled over half of his ships using tactics that defied every rule of civilized warfare. Reports were coming in from across the Zephyrian Empire of conquered worlds beginning to rebel after seeing humans broadcast proof that the mighty empire could be defeated. "If I cannot conquer these humans, then I will make an example of them that the galaxy will never forget," Kexthul declared to his remaining officers. "Deploy the planet killer weapons. We will turn their world into burning ash and show every species what happens to those who dare resist the Empire." The planet killer weapons were the most feared devices in Zephyrian arsenal. They could crack open a world's crust and boil away its oceans, leaving nothing but dead rock floating in space. The Empire had only used them 3 times in their history, and each time the destruction had terrified other species into immediate surrender. Captain Jim Foster, commanding the Earth defense ship Vengeance, intercepted the alien communication about the planet killer deployment. Foster was a quiet man who had spent 15 years protecting merchant ships from pirates and raiders. He had never wanted to be a hero, but the war had forced ordinary people to do extraordinary things. "Admiral Morrison, this is urgent," Foster reported over the encrypted channel. "The aliens are preparing to destroy Earth completely. They have Weapons that can kill every living thing on our planet. Morrison felt ice-cold fear run through his body as he read Foster's intelligence report. The human fleet had been winning the tactical battles, but they had no defense against weapons designed to destroy entire worlds. If the aliens activated their planet killers, then humanity would become extinct no matter how many battles they won. All ships, this is Admiral Morrison, he announced to every human vessel in the system. The enemy has decided that if they cannot conquer us, they will commit genocide against our entire species. This is no longer a war about territory or resources. This is a fight for the right of humanity to exist. The Admiral's words reached every human defender throughout the solar system. On Mars, Colonel Maria Santos prepared her defense batteries for one last desperate battle. In the asteroid belt, miners turned soldiers loaded their final missiles into improvised launchers. Near Saturn, patrol ships began their final approach toward the alien fleet. But it was Major Kelly Brooks, still aboard the captured Zephyrian, flagship with Strike Team Alpha, who provided the solution that would save not just humanity, but change the entire galaxy. Brooks had been studying alien computer systems while her team controlled the ship's communication array. "Admiral, I have discovered something incredible," Brooks reported. "The aliens keep detailed records of every species they have ever conquered. There are files here about hundreds of worlds that tried to resist and failed. But more importantly, there are files about worlds that never tried to fight back because they thought resistance was hopeless." Brooks had found the key to defeating not just the invasion fleet but the entire Zephyrian Empire. The alien records contained the locations and communication frequencies of every conquered world. More importantly, they contained proof that the Empire maintained control through fear rather than actual military strength. "We are going to broadcast everything," Brooks announced to her team. "Every species in the galaxy is going to learn the truth about their so-called invincible conquerors." While Brooks worked to prepare the galaxy-wide transmission, Morrison coordinated humanity's final desperate defense of Earth. Every remaining human ship, weapon platform, and defense station prepared to fight against odds that were truly impossible. They were facing not just superior numbers and technology, but weapons specifically designed to exterminate their entire species. Commander Gary Price, coordinating the defense of Earth's orbital space, knew that traditional tactics would not be enough to stop planet-killer weapons. Price was an engineer who had spent his career building things rather than destroying them. But the war had taught him that sometimes you had to break everything to save what mattered most. "All ships, prepare for final assault," Price ordered. "We are not trying to win a battle anymore. We are trying to buy time for Major Brooks to complete her mission. Every second we can delay those planet killers might save our entire species." The final battle began with the most desperate charge in human military history. Every functional, human vessel in the system attacked the Zephyrian fleet simultaneously. They did not try to preserve their ships or save their own lives. They threw everything they had at the aliens in one massive assault designed to cause maximum chaos and destruction. Captain Sarah Davis, commanding the stealth ship Shadow, led her squadron directly into the heart of the alien formation. Her ships had no chance of survival, but they could distract the aliens long enough for the planet-killer weapons to be delayed or damaged. Davis had volunteered for what she knew was a suicide mission, because she understood that some things were more important than individual survival. "This is Shadow, beginning final attack run," Davis announced as her ship emerged from its hiding place inside a comet tail. "It has been an honor to serve with all of you. Give them hell." The human attack was so fierce and desperate that it caught the aliens completely off guard. Kexthel had expected the humans to surrender when faced with extinction. Instead, they fought with a fury that bordered on madness. Human ships rammed alien vessels rather than retreating when their weapons ran out. Pilots who should have ejected stayed with their damaged craft to guide them into enemy targets. Engineer Danny Rodriguez, working from his hidden base in an asteroid, launched every weapon he had built during the war. His chaos missiles, plasma bombs, and modified alien technology created explosions throughout the Zephyrian fleet. Rodriguez knew he was probably going to die in the next few minutes, but he was determined to take as many aliens with him as possible. For Earth, for humanity, for every species that dreams of freedom, Rodriguez shouted as he fired his final salvo at the enemy fleet. The desperate human assault succeeded in damaging 2 of the 3 planet-killer weapons, but the third remained operational. Admiral Kexthul, his pride wounded beyond repair by the human resistance, gave the order to fire the weapon that would turn Earth into a dead world. At that exact moment, Major Brooks completed her mission. The galaxy-wide broadcast went out on every communication frequency used by every species in Zephyrian space. The transmission contained detailed records of alien military capabilities, proof of their weaknesses, and most importantly, complete, tactical information about how humans had defeated supposedly superior forces. The broadcast reached thousands of worlds simultaneously. Species that had been conquered centuries ago learned for the first time that their oppressors were not invincible. Detailed battle records showed exactly how human creativity and determination had overcome alien technology. Instructions were provided for building weapons from basic materials and organizing resistance movements. But the most devastating part of the broadcast was the revelation of what the Zephyrians were about to do to Earth. Every species in the galaxy would witness the aliens committing genocide against the brave humans who had shown everyone that freedom was possible. People of the galaxy, this is Major Kelly Brooks of the human species. Her voice carried across space to millions of worlds. Our enemies are about to murder every man, woman, and child on our planet because we dared to fight for our freedom. Do not let our sacrifice be meaningless. Use what we have learned. Fight for your own worlds. Show the universe that no species has the right to enslave another. The planet-killer weapon fired just as Brooks finished her transmission. But something unprecedented happened across the galaxy. On world after world, conquered species began to rise up against their Zephyrian oppressors. The human example had given them hope, and the broadcast had given them the knowledge they needed to fight back. Within hours, the Zephyrian Empire faced rebellions on over 200 worlds simultaneously. Their military forces, already weakened by the disastrous Earth invasion, could not handle resistance movements on so many planets at once. The great empire that had ruled the galaxy for 1,000 years began to collapse in a single day. Admiral Kexthul watched his homeworld burn on the communication screens as species after species threw off alien rule. His empire was dying, destroyed, not by superior weapons, but by the simple human idea that freedom was worth fighting for, no matter the odds. We came here to conquer primitives, Kexthul said to his surviving officers as reports of rebellion flooded in from across his former empire. Instead, we awakened the most dangerous force in the universe, the dream of liberty in the hearts of the oppressed. The planet-killer weapon that had fired at Earth was destroyed by the human ship Vengeance in a kamikaze attack that saved most of the planet from destruction. Captain Foster and his crew gave their lives to ensure that humanity would survive to see the galaxy they had liberated. In the aftermath of the war, humans became not conquerors like the Zephyrians had been, but protectors who helped other species build their own defenses against future tyrants.